perspective is SMU obviously had a really good transfer portal class, guys with a lot of experience.
Very good.
In this transfer portal era, how does that change how you approach spring, summer? Does it at all?
No, I'll tell you the same thing I've been telling everybody. One, the world is based on relationships, right? So if you build relationships, the faster you can get to a trust with them and us and them, the better you're going to be. So like the portal is great, and they've done an unbelievable job of identifying and bringing the right people in here, because they really have done this. And we've been talking the whole time about iron sharpens iron. That's, everybody uses that. But I've been telling them since January, the iron will sharpen the iron only if you'll let it. I mean, that's fine to say it, but if you don't let a guy coach you and I don't let you coach me, that's never going to work. I don't get to go across the white line. Coach Lashley doesn't go across the white line on game day. They've got to figure some of the stuff out. So we try to put them in situations. But the NIL has just made it so that we can get people like we've got, right? And the part for us that doesn't change is the relationships. They know you care about them. They know you love them. You can coach them as hard as you want to coach them. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter if you're married, you're dating, you're at work. I mean, it just that part doesn't ever change for me. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my simple answer to that. I mean, it's really not that difficult. It's all about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
You break on champions. Does it seem more realistic this year to bring this team to a championship?
I think so. I mean, you've got more pieces, you've got more depth, which I think we all know and understand. Like, if you don't have depth, it's just such a challenge. You know, I mean, you've got to get real lucky and not have injuries. Knock on wood, we've done a good job this summer. We don't have any. We've been lucky. So that's, hard work by us and a lot of really hard work by the kids and athletic training and Frank putting them in the right shoes and those kind of things. It's a conglomerate of how it works. Madison and her crew with nutrition, that's kind of the underbelly of what goes on in that building. I mean, the daily vitamins, the multivitamins, all the stuff that they give them to be healthy, those are things that don't get seen, you know what I mean? We're the kind of the underbelly of the deal, but we do have good talent. We've got depth. We will walk out and look like a New Year's Day 6 team. Like, that's what we're going to look like. That's the bottom line. Now, whether that happens or not, now we transition to football next week, and we've got to put a lot of pieces together, and you got to have some luck, and you got to have some toughness and grit, and you're going to have to win on the road and all those things. The hardest thing to do is win on the road, right? Winning is not easy. Winning on the road is tough. So we have the makeup to do a lot of really special things. This team is close. You can see it a little bit. You guys haven't been around us that much, but the difference is the people and the connectedness of our group is just different, which is great.
Do you tweak much going from year 1 to year 2 in a program, or are you just able to maybe do things a little faster since the returning guys are
Yeah, we tweak some things. This is summer 28 ended for me this year. We continue to evolve and change. You can't take the same thing and throw the same thing out every year. Every team's a little bit different. The things we changed, we did some different speed stuff. DC, my top assistant, he does an unbelievable job with the soft tissue and the activation and that kind of stuff. The kids were really good about that. We got 3 weeks of football stuff with our coaches, doing that OTA type stuff, which I thought was really, really good. And then just the conditioning part, we were able to do more, right? Year 2, you're able to do more. You're able to push a little harder. And we went like a 5-week block this time, which is totally out of my norm. We went a 5-week block and went really heavy towards June and kind of got most of our strength testing out of the way, and then able to move into more. We still went really heavy. We just didn't have the volume in July, trying to get to more of a football type thing. So it has worked out well this summer. We'll reevaluate. I take notes like crazy. So you go back, you reevaluate, look at numbers and how they do, and hopefully make progress. But you can go a little faster. You can push a little harder. They kind of know the drill. You don't have to do it. I coach them hard. I coach them fast, and let's go. Because they'll sit there and ask questions too much if you let them. They know it, and sometimes they don't trust it, right? I always tell them, just step outside the boat, man. It's only knee deep. It's not up to your neck. It's only knee deep. So we kind of go fast. That's how they're going to get coached, and that's the teams you play. Everybody plays up tempo. Somebody plays up tempo. So you got to be able to go fast, correct it, communicate, and help each other.
Tyler's toughness has never been a question if you look at his story, but just what he was able to go through last year to keep playing and come back. What have you seen from him? Yeah.
So this testing cycle, he's right back to where he was last summer, where he's really, really close. And all the strength stuff, the explosive power, and all those kind of things, which is really a tribute to him, because that surgery, it's a slow play. You got to take your time with it. So he's done a really, really good job. The biggest thing for him is like, hey, you got to trust the process, because he wants to go and go and go, which you appreciate that, but the body doesn't work like that. So he's done a great job with athletic training, himself, us, nutrition, all those kind of things to get himself where he goes. He looks great. Like I would tell you right now, because he's got no limitations. I mean, he looks fantastic.
Yeah, how was the conversation telling him, hey, you're going to...
He was good. He was really proud. I mean, he was happy. It's a big deal for me. It's a silly rock, people would say, but for me, it signifies moving to the next phase and moving to football. And it's become a big deal. You know what I mean? You saw it all last fall when we break a rock, you're winning games, man. My wife hand paints them all, so tribute to her of sitting there for hours and hours and hours painting with little tiny paintbrushes and putting it together. So, but he was proud of it. He embodies what SMU is: toughness, grit, a great teammate, helps everybody, not afraid to lead, and that's just a difficult thing sometimes. And this day and age is tough to get kids to let him lead you and lead him. We don't always have the best days. That's just life. So,
Were there any surprises this summer from the guys or
I would
anything?
tell you, well, one, we've got really, really good athletes, but you look like Marcus Bryant, hard to probably see from your level, but he has worked with DC, and Hiron have worked with DC on so much of their ankle mobility and the FMS type stuff that we really started doing a ton of it in 2020, and it helped some of our guys. Olu, the kid that just got drafted out of Michigan, we had Joey Blunt, the kid with the Seahawks that made it as a free agent. So we started really pushing some of those things on certain guys, and those guys look completely different running like pro agility. He's like a receiver. I mean, I know that sounds funny, but like he can bend now, right? So hopefully that'll translate to the grass for him. Ahmad Walker, kind of a low-key, quiet guy, doesn't say much, doesn't talk much. He looks fantastic. I mean, I told him that the other day, just his speed, his top-end speed, pulling the sleds, he's running with Curly and all those cats. And you wouldn't know that because he's just not a real vocal dude. So there's all kinds of guys, but I'm super proud of like Hudson and Teddy Knox, and Kamar looks great right now. Kamar put a foot on his broad jump, put 2 inches on his vertical jump, coming from the injury from Alabama. He's 203. I mean, we just got some really, really good kids, but there's all kinds of accolades to give, I guess.
With the leaders that you have on this team, did you see a lot of guys that maybe didn't elevate as much last year elevate and take their situation to the next level? Like
I told Chapman in a conversation the other day, like, I appreciate his consistency, his work ethic. You never have to question how hard he'll work. You never. That dude comes ready to work every single day. But even he stepped out of his comfort zone probably of being a leader. And the other day, we're running our 4 quarters, and at the end of the third quarter, I hear somebody yelling out of the corner of the end zone. I'm over here with the O-line, and he's like, hey. And he's yelling champions on the set, and he gets everybody in the room to do it. That's authentic leadership. That's not me telling him to do it. I have nothing to do with it. So that's the buy-in more, the trust, that he wants to win. If it's extra reps, he doesn't cry about it. He just tells his teammates, let's go, I want to win. So that leadership part has been really good to see guys kind of step up. And, some of it's their senior year, so sometimes it takes a little longer to, oh, man, I got this many days left. And it goes by really fast. We all know that as an adult. But 31 workouts seemed like we just started. And it's done. I mean, it just goes so fast. So
every player we talk to seems to point to Jonathan McGill's leadership. I guess for a newcomer, that seems like a fine line. Hey, you got to come in, be a new guy, but you're also coming in with confidence and swagger and that leadership ability. What have you seen?
Same thing from day one. I had a leadership council. I started with Coach Lashley's blessing in January, just putting 20 guys together, kind of guys that have a voice, kind of some of their like locker room voices that have power in there, and some have power on the field and played and all that stuff. So kind of a wide variety. Just try to teach some leadership stuff. So I'm having some Zoom calls with some military guys, and just me teaching, which is outside the box for me, but just trying to get in the classroom and just have authentic, true relationship stuff with, like, what is hard for you to lead? Why is it hard for you to lead? When somebody does this, why is it hard for you to step outside the box? And they were super honest about it. I won't talk about it because that was a private conversation, but they were at least honest, like somebody's got to talk to move forward. And they were kind of honest about that. But he asked to be in that group. Well, shoot, you want to be in it? Of course I'll let you in it. So that was from the day one. And just who he is, right? He's a grad transfer. He's a super smart kid, does everything he's right. He's here on time. He works really hard. He's authentic in who he is. Kids can see through your crap. You know what I mean? You don't have to be that. Just be who you are. That's what I tell kids all the time. Same thing with Tyler today. Just be authentic. Speak from your heart, man. Fresh, capture their hearts and capture their minds, and you can get them to go. But Jonathan's done a great job. He's really molded. I tribute to our coaches for identifying the right people, not just taking guys to take guys. They took guys that are high-end quality athletes, but also high-character kids that'll fit what Coach Lashley wants. That part has been outstanding by our crew, and that's hard to do.
One more newcomer question. Jordan Hudson, a lot of talent, from high school and last year at TCU. From an athletic standpoint, just what have you seen from him?
Freak.
Yeah.
You see him run today? It's just different. Like it's just different, and he's come a long way just because of the May break and those kind of things, But you can see today, like, he loves football, he loves to work, and you can see the size and speed. He's 193 pounds. He's getting stronger. He's just a pup. He's young. People look at him, probably don't think he's young, but he's just a young dude. But he's a great teammate. I actually told DC this yesterday. Yesterday I'm watching the OTA, and it's him and Romello coaching up Henry Stickler and Jackson Lavender. So from the sideline. So that's the buy-in, right? That's how you get good. Rasheed used to do that. Rasheed would pull Teddy and Knox on the side and help him, coach him all the time. Those are great teammates, and they help you as a coach. Those are extra coaches.
And then just another guy kind of along those lines with Preston and him stepping into an even bigger leadership role, being the guy.
Yeah.
How important is it to see your quarterback do those things just from a mentality kind of standpoint?
For me, it's always been important. I mean, you're only really going to go as far as that guy. It don't matter if you're playing Pee Wee or you're playing the NFL. If you don't have a guy back there, it's just really difficult. He has grown a ton. I mean, I think he'll talk about that himself, but you watch his growth and maturity. He's 217, 219. Right now, you saw him with the shirt off. He's like a whole different cat. We finally got him healthy and some things cleaned up, and he's squatting and he's trap hard shrugging, and he's doing everything that the normal stuff does on top of all the 3D QB stuff and all the things that we do. But man, has he grown a lot. And you see these kids love that guy, and they respect him. They always have, and that'll take us a long, long way. And then when he talks, they listen. When he asks them to do something, they listen. And like, he made the group go back right there because Massey jumped. Stuff happens. It's just go to the next play, and that's kind of what we've been preaching. People make mistakes. Let's go to the next play. How do you clean it up? But he has done a really, really fantastic job.